Overnight military coup overturned. Korea unites for democracy's survival. Impeachment looming for Dictator Yoon. Nighttime K-drama ends Yeol's legacy.
After a night of chaos, the drama in South Korea is far from over. Hours after he was forced to withdraw his order of martial law, President Yeol now faces an impeachment. Opposition parties have moved to impeach the president as massive outrage followed the Martial Act move. Now, in fact, protesters marched towards the presidential palace to force Yeol to resign today. South Korea's National Assembly needs two-thirds majority for the president to be impeached. If the motion succeeds, it could lead to his removal from office and a significant shift in South Korea's leadership. The country, remember, hasn't seen political stability and a civilian government for a longer duration, considering its deeply unstable and violent political past, with presidents being overthrown, assassinated, or imprisoned. Given this intense political divide, the vote could occur within days, potentially changing the course of the nation's future. On Global Mirror today, I'm joined by former Ambassador Shashank, who has served in South Korea and who can give us a better understanding of what the conservative point of view is, that is, the president and his party, People Power Party, and their point of view. Ambassador Shashank, good evening, namaskar. Thank you very much for sparing the time to speak with us. My first question to you, Ambassador, your first thoughts on what has been going on in South Korea, the kind of chaos that we saw. The martial law was ordered, then it was withdrawn. There are, of course, domestic challenges also that the Conservative Party, the People's Power Party faces. According to you, what has been going on there?
South Korea has been a member of the Alliance of Democracies, and therefore it was quite a surprise that martial law was imposed in South Korea as a decision of the president, who is a representative, who is the leader of the Conservative Party. Of course, there have been troubles between the president, who is running a minority government, and the majority in the parliament is of the Democratic Party, which is more for both pro-democracy as well as for promoting relations in some ways with North Korea, and not going too much on turning North Korea into an enemy state. So therefore, if you see the history, there have been always proponents of the sunshine policy from the Democratic Party side, whereas the conservatives always feel that there is a competition one way or the other between North Korea and South Korea has to win the economic prosperity war, because they have the other idea also that they should become one of the most advanced economically and technically countries in Asia. So therefore, that competition is with Japan on one side, and also with the other Asian countries which have been developing their economies rapidly. So therefore, there are these various trends, that is, conservative trends to promote economy of the country, not allow any kind of confusion within the society, and there is a kind of trend that is a Confucianist system which they want to follow. In fact, some of these states in Asia, like South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, some of them follow that they are the true inheritors of the Confucianist philosophy, which was in China, but really Chinese went to the communist system. So therefore, they have to keep up this system going of staunch family values and the orderliness in the society. Of course, we have to keep in mind also that North Korea has recently sent about 10,000 troops in Russia for the Russia-Ukraine war theater, and therefore South Korea, there is a feeling that North Korea can be an unpredictable neighbor and may like to do things which will hurt the security interests of South Korea. So that also, I think, remains behind the mind of the thinking of the president, that he must make sure that there are no demonstrations or no public protests in South Korea of any kind which can be taken advantage of by the North Korean.
You know, it's interesting, Ambassador Shashank, that you mentioned North Korea. But do you think North Korea is the only reason why President Yeol announced the martial law and not the kind of domestic challenges that he's facing back home, whether it's, you know, the kind of scandal allegations that he and his wife have been going through, and even the approval ratings that are at their lowest that he has to grapple with? Do you not think those are also something that have contributed to this kind of a decision?
Well, that always is there, that when there are charges against the leadership, they have to take action, and I think they have taken action perhaps on that account also, by mobilizing the public opinion within the country that there is an enemy across the border, which is taking very energetic steps to undermine the security interests of South Korea and the partnership which South Korea has with the United States. And therefore, they would be able to do something. I mean, we have seen that happening in Israel, where there is a domestic trouble, that the domestic opposition in Israel has been saying that the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has charges against him of corruption, and therefore he is really taking the whole country towards a very conservative line and not making any kind of real steps for the release of the hostages. But anyway, that is the domestic situation of Israel and the Gaza situation. But here, South Korea, North Korea also, because this becomes a potential scene of kind of, in case a conflict arises in Asia. And as we see that these countries like South Korea, Taiwan, they have been buying huge number of weapons from the Americans, have been carrying out the military exercises with the United States. And they also feel that South Korea feels that, well, they should get stronger partnership with the United States, because we have seen that New Zealand has recently been offered membership of the AUKUS. So South Korea would also like to be there somewhere, either in AUKUS or with Quad or something like this. So we have to keep in mind that the conservative elements in South Korea, though they may be in a minority as far as the parliament is concerned, National Assembly is concerned, but they also feel that they should strengthen their partnership with the United States, with the other regional countries, and they should have access to the most modern technologies which are being given to countries in Asia.
You know, Ambassador, I also want to understand the American angle from you. You know, there is a lot of speculation about the fact that how Joe Biden and his administration are trying to make things difficult for the incoming US president, that's Donald Trump, and how, you know, they are sort of straining ties with countries so that Donald Trump has a tough time. That's the accusation against them. But how do you see this really moving forward as far as US is concerned? South Korea is a close ally of the United States of America. Donald Trump, of course, is coming in now as the next American president. How do you see that really influencing the situation here?
Well, one does not know as to how the change of government will take place in America, because we know the first Trump administration, where the decisions are being taken on isolating the United States from the other partnerships. So they had been talking about the NATO countries and the Asian Pacific countries taking care of their own security interests, paying much more money, looking after their security. Why should America be providing everything to them? And once again, President Trump, when he comes in 20th January, he is talking about stopping the war between Russia and Ukraine. And he has also threatened some of the major trading partners of the United States, like Canada, Mexico, and China, that he would impose 100% tariffs on their imports. And he has also mentioned that, well, he would not be sitting back if BRICS goes for de-dollarization or use of any other kind of currencies, and they would also be subjected to 100% tariffs. So that is one area. We know that President Biden is going into President Trump has won the elections, but winning the elections in a democratic system does not mean that they have 100% majority support. They have only, let's say, little over 50% support. Popular vote is in their favor. But there are people who are around 40-50% who have other kind of ideas, and they would like the kind of the alliances with NATO, with the other countries in Asia, they to continue strongly. And that, I think, will remain a major point of struggle between the two parties, even within the congressional fields, as well as in the discussions among the political parties and the NGOs there. So I think we have to keep that in mind. So it's quite likely that that all these countries are trying to position themselves in a way so that they know that in Trump administration number 2, he might not isolate the United States totally. And if he is put in a certain kind of a situation whereby it's a question of the prestige of the US and the prestige of President Trump, that instead of shaking hands with Kim Jong-un, he might go for attacking Kim Jong-un. He might go for attacking the Gaza people. He might go for attacking the Russians in a stronger. So they are trying to do that, but we'll have to see as to what comes up after 20th.
And therefore, sir, how do you see this moving forward in terms of the political future of South Korea? The country hasn't really seen political stability for a longer duration of time. Also, of course, President Yeol now facing impeachment.
Well, we'll just have to see, because President Yeol has withdrawn the martial law order, because he has gone on the basis of the laws which have been framed in South Korea. And therefore, there might be a little bit of slowdown or going back on the kind of present attempts to impeach him. So let us wait and see, because after all, the democratic leaders also of South Korea, they don't want to be in a situation where the South Korean situation, they become rather weak compared to North Korea or compared to the other countries in the region. So therefore, we have to just wait and see how this will play out.
My last question to you then, sir, how should India be responding to this situation? We've had a good relationship, a healthy one with South Korea. Moving forward, the India-South Korea relationship, how should we be responding to this?
Well, India has always been with South Korea as regards the economic and strategic partnership with them. So we have strengthened that partnership. They have invested largely in the Indian automobile sector, many other sector, LG, Samsung, and all these countries, they have their companies, they have their R&D centers in India. So it's not just a question of, let's say, Indians taking some marginal share in the South Korean investment, but India and South Korea seem to have become very important partners in the most modern technologies, whether it's chips or any other thing where they have a lot of strength. As far as North Korea is concerned, we know that North Korea has been a member of the Non-Aligned Movement, and we feel that we have to keep North Korea also in a way a little more, let's say, acceptable to the international norms and international standards, and India would like to have a way open to be able to talk to North Korea, to convey that peace is very important in the region. And therefore, India has been doing that in other war theaters or conflict zones. And I think in North and South Korea, both sides, they recognize the role which India has played traditionally in whether medical services or whether in making sure that peace is maintained in that zone, in that region.
All right, Ambassador Shashank, thank you very much for speaking with us on Global Mirror and helping us get a better understanding of what is going on in South Korea and what we can expect in the next few weeks. Thank you very much, sir. Pleasure talking to you and pleasure having you on Global Mirror.